CBS 21 News presents Face the State with Joel D. Smith, a look at the issues and politics that shape Pennsylvania.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to a special edition of Face the State for Sunday, April 30th. I'm Joel D. Smith. In just a few weeks, you'll be hitting the polls. You're in the primary. You're getting ready for that, right? On the ballot, a number of things, including who will be making decisions for your children in local school boards. Get this, there are 120 contested races in Central PA alone. And over the past few years in particular, these boards have become political battlegrounds. In school, you'll learn you can't spell pay without PA. But that's not true in PA when it comes to school board salaries. Pennsylvania is one of only 2 states where it is against state law to pay board members. And we have a lot of them here. Pennsylvania has the 10th most school districts in the country and the 6th most school board members. With no pay, long meetings, and angry residents, it's been a thankless job for years. During the pandemic, instead of just voting on things like property taxes and new construction, suddenly school boards had the power to keep kids at home or bring them back, with masks or without. And it looks like those decisions had consequences. According to Ballotpedia, in 2020, nationwide incumbents won 60% of school board elections. But a year later, in the thick of the pandemic, only 51% of incumbents won. And now there's even more topics for passionate parents and would-be board members. Which books can be used in schools? Bathroom policies? And who can play on which sports teams? Are those topics political? In 29 states, school board elections don't identify which party the candidates are in. Once again, PA is an outlier. Although candidates can cross-file, Pennsylvania is one of just 2 states with Connecticut that labels candidates with their party. You can't spell pay without PA, but it's also the first 2 letters in partisan. Okay, folks, this morning we will have candidates from both sides of the aisle. First, we're joined by 3 Republicans. We have Gary Weavido, who's running for East Pennsboro School District. We have Sue Helm from Susquehanna Township and Andrew Clancy from Cumberland Valley. Welcome, folks. We're so glad you're here. We get the Democrats in just a bit. You guys are leading off for us. We want to get to know why now, because you haven't run before, or at least not served before. We'll start with you, Gary. Tell us what you do and why you decided to go.
Well, what I do, Joel, is I've been in business for 33 years. We work with local businesses, helping them with their benefit plans. And I've been approached by school board members and concerned parents in the community to run because of my business experience and background.
All right, Sue?
Well, I was a state rep for 16 years, and the best part of my job was when the kids came to the Capitol to talk to them and answer questions and have them talk to me and tell me what they were concerned about. But what really threw me over the edge was when the school district I'm running in, I heard that they have an A in diversity, which I'm perfectly fine with that, A+, but a C+ in education. And I thought, you know, what's the use of having a diversity if we don't teach the kids anything? So my goal is to have academic excellence in the school. So that's what I want to work for. Okay,
that's what got you involved. How about you, Andrew?
I'm a professional engineer. I work for a manufacturing firm down in York. And one of the things I see down there is we have a tremendous need for technical people, engineers, designers, and things like that, but also even a greater need for the skilled trades. I started going to school board meetings 3 years ago when school was shut down.
Right.
And as I continued going to those meetings over the last 3 years, there were a number of other issues that continued to pop up that I think parents want to have a voice in the school district.
Right.
And in addressing the board, I didn't get the feeling that they were really being heard.
Well, let's talk about some of those issues right now. So Pennsylvania, one of only 2 states in the country that labels people by their actual party. So a lot of folks don't do this. A lot of states don't do it. We do. As Republicans now, by a show of hands, let's see if you all agree on a couple of these. Who thinks parents should have a say when it comes to what's being taught in the classroom, the actual curriculum? Raise your hand. Okay. How far should that go? Should it come down to each and every book? Is it further than that? Is it what part of the history we're going after here? What do you think?
I think parents should have a voice and be concerned about anything that they would consider controversial or maybe new, eliminating and erasing history that's already been documented.
Okay. Sue?
I think parents should be told what is taught in the school, and if they want to find out what the textbooks are, they should be allowed to look at them. I think that's important. I always say, you know, every child, if they had a good family home, we wouldn't have the problems in the school that we have now.
There's some books that are being taken out of schools right now because maybe they are new, maybe they're controversial. Are you okay with some books being taken out of schools?
I think when I see some of the books that are being used, certainly some of them just generate some great concern. I am not necessarily one to say we need to ban particular books, but I think we need to look at those and say, what is the age appropriateness of these books? And there may be some books that aren't available to students to check out, but if a parent would like to check them out and go through them with their student, I'm perfectly okay with that. I think when you talk about how far do we get into the curriculum, again, I think it's parental engagement with their children. There should be no surprise on existing curriculum what is being taught.
Okay.
New stuff, I think maybe requires at least availability of that material.
This is a new topic that certainly wasn't on the agenda a few years ago, transgender sports, okay? So by a show of hands here, who is in favor of transgender students playing on the team of the gender they identify with? Okay. Does anyone have a solution to this? Is it just keep them off altogether, or is there something more creative that may get them involved in some way in sports? Anybody have anything there?
Well,
What do you think?
I don't totally have a solution, but I think every child should feel comfortable in the school. So I think that's something the school boards really have to address and come out with a good answer.
Is there a way to be inclusive but also fair when it comes to something like this, which inherently is competitive? I know it's a tough one, Gary, but this could come up. This could come up when you get on the board.
Well, my answer is very direct. You play on the sport or the team, the gender that you were born.
Okay. I think that a lot of Republicans are feeling that way, but these things are coming up, and I know some people are inspired to get involved because of these kind of topics. Let's get to this. Has it become too political in general? I want to get your feel on this, because as you saw in that first story, some states don't list this at all, and you know, some people, they go down the board from the top to the bottom. I'm going to vote Republican all the way, Democrat all the way, and that goes all the way down to the school board. What do you think?
You know, I think education in and of itself is completely apolitical. What we're teaching students and what we're trying to develop in a student is not a Republican or a Democrat issue. I think what we see is society has politicized almost everything. Right. If you disagree with the decision the school board makes, I've seen it in my own campaign, you're labeled as an extremist as opposed to somebody who has a differing opinion.
Well, that brings me to this. Are you ready to deal with people that feel that way, that could be parents, and they could be at these board meetings? You've seen some of this, and you're getting ready to get in the fray.
I'm willing to stand up
for
what I would call truth, but I don't have a problem with people having differing opinions or differing political views. That's what makes America what it is.
But the difference could be this time, Sue, you've been criticized, I'm sure, as a politician before, but is it the person, you know, that's a neighbor of yours who now feels differently about you? And maybe you've already dealt with this and these guys haven't, but you're on the hook for these decisions and people can be passionate about them.
You know, I have found if you listen to people, hear what they have to say, work with them the best you can, people are okay with that, but they have to be heard. And I would like to have town hall meetings just like I did as a state rep and find out what their questions are and even talk to the students, like get a student group to come and talk to the school board. You know, we just have to hear all the concerns and work with them.
All right, communication. I think everybody agrees on that.
Communication is so important.
All right, guys. Well, we're glad that you were able to share some of your thoughts with us today. Good luck in your upcoming election.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, folks. Yeah.
Why did I worry about it for 3 days?
We're done with you, but we're not done with the show yet. You've heard from the Republicans. How about we're hearing from next the Democrats running for the first time as well, including a teacher and a doctor. Stick around. Stick around. And welcome back, everybody, to our special edition of Face the State. I'm now joined by our second panel. This time they are the Democrats running for school board spots. It is Sarah Zahn running for the Elizabethtown School Board. We have Peter Frengel, who's running for Mechanicsburg School Board, and Dr. Anju Singh running for the Lower Dauphin School Board. So guys, we talked about this earlier. So many new faces out there running for school board positions nationwide. So what we're going to do is start with you guys. I want you to introduce yourself by just saying what profession you're currently in and your #1 reason that you want to run for a school board. We'll start with you.
Hi, I am a serial entrepreneur. I own several businesses. I also work in the public school system as an instructional paraprofessional. And I'm running for school board because I believe in public education. I believe it's at risk right now. And I believe that every child, no matter who they are, what they believe in, where they come from, deserves the best possible education with the limited resources of the district.
All right, Peter, before this, what were you into?
I've been teaching for 30 years in the schools in central Pennsylvania. I believe in teachers, I believe in librarians, I believe that they should be autonomous in making decisions in the curriculum. And I'm running for school board because we have an excellent schools district already, and I want to maintain that excellence.
Dr. Singh?
As a profession, I too am multi-dimensional, so to speak. I run a small business in Hummelstown. I own a boutique of East Indian apparel and accessories. I'm also an adjunct faculty at HAC, where I've been teaching anatomy and physiology to our students coming into the healthcare program. Majority of them are nursing students with some dental hygiene, nutrition and stuff. And I also am a tutor with 2 tutoring agencies.
So what got you to say, I got to step up and do this as well? You sound pretty busy already.
Because nobody else is doing some of the things that need to be done. Lower Dauphin School District also is an excellent school district. It is ranked very highly in the country. So for that, we are very thankful and very proud. But if you've been following the news, finally some things have come to public eye, which have existed for a long period of time.
Yeah.
And I think part of the reason is because people on the board, who are probably really fine people, but they don't have the lived experiences and therefore are not able to represent and or engage in topics.
Well, a lot of new people are getting involved in this, and none of you have been on school boards before, which is part of the reason we want to bring you on here and get your perspective. Let's get into this. Pennsylvania, one of only 2 states in the country that has party affiliation labeled to you. Now you can cross-file it, obviously, but they get into it. How about this then? I'm going to do a show of hands. I'm going to give you a controversial topic. Raise your hand if you agree with this, okay? Who is in favor of transgender students playing on the teams of the gender they identify with? Okay, so we got...
It's a loaded question, though. I'm a person of science. We need to stick with the science and the effects of hormones and the timing since the transition. And
so
where
you're not saying it's all the time, you're saying at a certain age?
A certain stage of transition.
Okay.
Because hormones have the effect, and hormones wear off, and their effects wear off. So where is this person, and therefore they need to be scientists, someone who specializes. Even me with my medical degree and PhD, I would not claim to be a specialist in that area.
Okay, so it's not, so you don't think it's an all or nothing answer on that?
I think that's a really smart thing to point out. Also, something that concerns me about that is that someone on the outside making a decision for someone else concerns me. And so I would really like to, this is a situation where I think working with the parent and the student, finding what's best for them, it's not a black and white issue, it's not cut and dry, working with them, making sure that whatever team they play on is the best for them.
But is it the best for their teammates, or it's the best for the people that are going against them? That's what the other side would say. It's not that simple that it's just that person it affects other people that maybe don't make the team because of that, or their opponents who they'll be going against.
Well, go ahead, Peter. Well, I would say anytime we single out a certain group, I find that really dangerous. And I don't know that those are decisions that as school board needs to be making as it is.
Well, some school boards are, as you know.
I am aware of that, yeah.
It's complicated, and I think that what you're saying is the individual case has to be seen very closely and all the complexities taken into account. And there are people that would like to simplify it for partisan reasons, and I think that has to be avoided.
Okay, I do need to move on to the next topic here. Show of hands again. Should any books be banned from school libraries? Raise your hand if you think any book should be banned ever from a school library. No. Okay. There's a book by Donald Trump Jr. called Liberal Privilege. Is that okay to be in school libraries? Okay. Mein Kampf. That's okay to be in school libraries. Okay. Just seeing where we are on that topic in particular. I'm getting towards this. Has it become too political when it comes to school boards? It used to be a little bit simpler. It seems back in the day it was, we're going to raise taxes, we're not. We're going to build this kind of a stadium, or we're not. But now we're to the point of where it really is getting political. People are just saying, I'm going to vote all the way down from top to bottom on my side of things here. The politics of school boards, what do you think?
Yes, school boards have become politicized, and they should not be. And one of the reasons we have candidates being allowed to cross-file is to have at least that appearance of bipartisanship. And because our children deserve the best, and all deserve equality. We all pay taxes.
Let me get to the next topic here. Show of hands. Who thinks that teachers should be allowed to talk about gender identity in the classroom? Okay. And how involved should parents be? This is kind of one we're going to try to go for a short answer here. I know we can go all day on this one. How involved should parents be? We'll start with you.
I think parents are absolutely essential to the process. They are probably one of the most important stakeholders. Parents have an absolute right to determine what their children read and don't read.
Okay, so curriculum, they can have an impact on that?
That's a little different. That's a little different. The curriculum decisions are made by teachers, and they're trained in curriculum development. Parents can have input to the extent, for example, I had a parent once ask me to not have a student read a certain book, and I was able to find a different book for that student to read. So,
and through communication, you got to that conclusion.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. Are you guys ready to deal with parents? You've seen some of the clips out there. We've covered some of the stuff out there. It can get real contentious at times because some of these are really tough decisions to make. Are you ready for that?
Absolutely. I'm a parent as well, and I always look to find common ground with whomever I'm speaking with. Even if we disagree on other things, if we can find even a kernel of common ground, I think we can get somewhere.
But we've heard stories of people, the neighbors won't talk to them anymore. They've lost friends over this because they're putting themselves out there in a position like this.
I think if you assume good faith on the other on the other party and assume that they're trying to do what they believe is best, I have a lot of conservative friends and family, and I'm used to talking to people from where they are and trying to, as you said, make sense.
Final word, Dr. Singh.
For me, I'll say this about banned books, I'll say this about gender. Any topic where we have a difference of opinion, I think the important thing is to get to the crux of it. As far as banning books is concerned, the culture I was raised in, books are a source of information, source of knowledge. Calling a good or bad is a personal judgment. It tells you more about the person than it does about the book. And teenagers try and ban something, what do you think they're going to do?
Exactly. They're going to seek it out. Hey, we're going to seek out lots more of information on this. Thank you very much, guys, for being here with us. So we've spoken to those who want to run for the school board, right? Next, why one man is leaving a school board after more than a dozen years. He will be on with our political insiders next. All right, welcome back, everybody, to this special edition of Face the State. I'm now ready to talk to the political insiders about all this. Democratic strategist Mark Singal, Republican strategist Charlie Giroux, and the man in the middle right here, not running for re-election for the school board this year, is Todd Rucci from Warwick, the president right now of the school board. You've been there for a long time. Tell us why you're not going to go for one more.
I think it's probably about 14 years or so. I think it's enough. You know, I've enjoyed my time, but I think there's a time to move on and get some new blood, new ideas, and new folks to kind of lead the district. So I had a great experience. It's just time. Just time. Something simple as that. We might get a little more detailed in a second on that, but I want to talk to you guys as well. I think some people might think that it's a starting point when you go to the school board, that maybe your political career moves on from there. What do you think, Mark?
Well, first of all, my congratulations to anybody that steps up and runs for office. It's a demanding, kind of activity, no matter what level. But there always is a percentage of people who run for school board thinking, well, maybe the next step is state house or state senate. Too often they find that it's quicksand.
Okay. Charlie, you heard these people talking. They sound optimistic. What do you think?
Well, Mark's right. I mean, being a school director is a thankless job. Most of them, like Todd here, do it for the money. But
as we know, zero is the money.
But it really is a thankless job. And if you're looking to curry political favor or build a political base to run for other office, school board ain't the place to be.
Todd, back to you now. What's changed? You said 14 years. I mean, you got into this when your kids were probably pretty young. All the way through, they're in college now. What's changed? And we know some of the big things that have changed, the pandemic and other things too.
Yeah, I think the big thing is, well, number one, I think technology, because I think access to information and parents and folks being able to get that information quickly. But I think the other thing too is, you guys are around politics, and all politics being local for so long. And there used to be kind of a buffer between what was happening on the federal level, even on the state level, to what was actually happening in school boards themselves. And I think with the pandemic and what was happening, with the federal legislation and what was being mandated through the state, I think it brought that space a lot tighter. So rightfully so. We have a lot of parents now who are paying attention, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. It's just gotten to be a little bit more transparent, and I think folks have a little bit more access to information which they should.
Right, and, and with that information, whether it's right or wrong, they come at you guys with that, maybe because you're the closest person they can talk to who's making a decision impacting their lives. Because, guys, they made decisions because it was put back on them by the government. No one would make a call, so it came all the way down to the school district. Will we be open or not? Will we have masks or not? And I guess it got real local.
Yeah, and the thing is that we elect people to make those decisions on our behalf. So this new phenomenon of everybody thinking they can just storm school board meetings and demand attention and, you know, ban books and, you know, cast whatever ideological perspective they have on the school board members, it's really kind of taken a tone of non-kindness, non-compassion. Yeah. The decency level has slipped a little bit among the voters, among the constituents, not among the elected officials.
Well, they're elected, but they are volunteers, basically, because they're not getting paid for this, Charlie.
Well, the other problem, of course, is that we had the Justice Department of the United States, the Biden Justice Department, going after parents because they had the temerity to come out to school board meetings and speak their minds, which they have not only every right to do, but every responsibility to do, because parents still should be in charge. Yes, they have elected representatives to make many decisions, but not allowing their voices to be heard fully and completely at school board meetings is an outrage and completely antithetical to what our system is supposed to be.
Todd, what did you actually see? Were there people in the community that you thought you knew in one way, but then when decisions were made, they kind of treated you different because, once again, they know what you're doing out there?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I mean, look, at our own kitchen table, I think everyone fell on different sides of COVID. I mean, even in our family, you know, we have, you know, folks on both sides of it, and there are a lot of differences, and, you know, you had a lot of arguments in my own family. So, yeah, I wasn't surprised when we're sitting at a you know, board meeting and you're hearing parents from different sides, you know, having different opinions as well. That's okay. You know, I think if you're listening to what is actually being communicated, and you try to, you know, wade through some of the rhetoric and some of the heat and all that, I think you can, you know, I think now that things are settling down, we're trying to understand, and hopefully we'll be better.
Yeah.
You know, as school districts.
Right, but so now you have those easy topics like which books should be there, the curriculum, and transgender sports. All the easy stuff that we can all solve in one moment. I want to get to this now. People might not know this. Todd Rucci is a former NFL player, Super Bowl champion, played with Tom Brady, and coached by Bill Belichick.
No, I'm not Super Bowl champion. We lost to the Packers. So
my fault. That was the other one.
Sounds better.
But at the but you were with Bill Belichick for a little while.
Correct.
Okay. Is it easier facing Bill Belichick after a bad game or the parents after a tough decision?
Wow, toss-up. Complete toss-up. That's a good one. I'll reserve that one.
I will tell you this, as a former school board solicitor, there were meetings at which the local police had to escort us and the board members out the back door.
Wow. Final word on this, Mark.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's all a matter of civility. We have to be kind to each other. We have to treat each other with respect. And I think by and large, that's what's slipping in our whole body politic today.
All right, we can all agree on that, and now we know that I owe you a Super Bowl ring.
You do.
I'll have to work on that. All right, folks, we'll be right back with one final word. All right, we're so glad you were able to be here with us on this special edition of Face the State talking about school boards. What did you learn? They are unpaid positions, so when you are going to complain, maybe keep that in mind. Are you willing to step up instead of the people whose opinions you don't like? Seems like a lot of people are doing that. We got a lot of new blood trying to run here. One thing we can all agree on, voting is important, who wins is important, and stepping up also important. We'll see you in 7 days on Face the State.